here. Welcome, Exit Associates or guests. If you've joined us today, you heard about our Techinar. You're excited to hear a little bit more about our exit technology. We're thrilled that you could be with us today. This is a Techinar. It's going to be part training, part demo, fully practical. Okay, you're going to leave with something built today. And today we're going to talk about our lead gateway. And at the end of, let's say, the next 30 minutes or less, you're going to have a real lead generation asset that's going to be ready to deploy. Not tomorrow, today, which is exciting. Now, here's the problem that we're going to solve today. Most agents, they create content, right? They have it on their social posts. Maybe it's a market update or maybe some buyer guides. And that's just it, right? They share it. There's no capture for leads anyway, no consent, and no follow-up. And basically what happens is the content does its job, but the lead evaporates. Okay, we're going to stop that today. Lead gateway, it changes everything. It's built right into your exit platform. It's not an add-on. It's not a third-party integration, and it's not another subscription. Are you ready? Let's lean into it. So the core concept is very simple, okay? First and foremost, what Lead Gateway does is it's the ability for you to share content, any content, with lead generation and consent built right in. Now here's how it works at the core. You have a piece of content, and it could be a seller guide. It could be a neighborhood report. It could be a home valuation tip sheet. You upload it, you've got a URL for that link. The platform will generate a QR code pointing individuals to that specific resource. So when you share the QR code and they scan it, it's going to go right to the resource. But here's where you have the power. You get to decide whether that content is open access, which means anyone who scans the QR code gets it immediately, or it's gated, meaning a form sits in front of the resource. So they fill it out, they get the content, you get the lead with consent. Big difference. Now, this is not a workaround. This is not duct tape to a broken system, right? This is built in, native to your exit technology stack. And I want you to think about what that means for open houses, community events, your social posts, maybe direct mail, like anywhere you want to put a QR code, now you have a lead machine. So let's talk about the 3 layers that Lead Gateway provides you. First of all, let's break this down so that you understand the full architecture before we go into full demo mode, okay? The first one is your content. So this is what you're offering. So again, it could be a PDF, it could be a video, it could be a landing page, a resource guide, something that your audience actually wants. It could be for buyers or sellers because you know what? They have real questions. And the content that answers those questions, that's where the real value comes in. Layer number 2 is your gate setting. So this is your decision point. This is where open means anyone can access. Gated means that you place a mandatory form in front of the resource. So they need to fill out their full name, their email address. So they fill it out. Once they fill it out, they get the content, and you get the consented lead. And not only that, but you also get a notification that lets you know that you just generated a full-blown lead with consent. Okay. Layer number 3 is your QR code or shareable link. This is what goes on your flyers or your social posts or your listing presentations or even your business cards. Think about that. I've added this to my email signature, so you can consider this as well. And it points people directly to your content. So when it's scanned, layer 2 kicks in, and either it grants them access and as well as gives them full ability for you to capture the lead with the consent. So it's 3 layers, 1 system, completely under your control. Now let's go ahead and do a demo. Now, when we go into demo, I want to be able to show, and if you have the opportunity to follow along with me, I would love it if you would. because we're going to build one together. And I'm going to share my screen so I can walk you through on how to take advantage of this. So first what we're going to do is I'm going to log into the Resource Center. When you log into the Resource Center, you're going to hover over the icon up at the top that says Resources. Here you're going to go into your lead gateway for QR codes. Okay. When you go into this dashboard, we're ready to get started. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new lead gateway so that you can see how simple and clean it is. First thing we want to do on the right-hand side, I know, pretty simple, it says Add New QR Code. So we're going to click on here. Now the first thing we want to do is go ahead and give it a name. So I created something already in Canva. So let's call this Top Tips. Let's see, let's do Top ROI. Top. I'm going to say top. This is okay. This could give you this could cause a little bit of some stickiness, right? So it's basically a flyer on DIY projects that you can do with a high return on investment. So I'm going to say top DIY. I think I just needed to say it out loud. So top DIY tips with a high ROI. Okay, now we want to go ahead and find where that URL is. So I created this in Canva. Here it is, my top high ROI DIY tips. Now I want to just simply copy the link. So I want to make sure when I go into Canva and I create something that anyone that has access to the link can view it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click copy link. I've copied the link. I'm going to go back into my lead gateway and I'm going to paste it here. Now I've got some options. Depending on my marketing piece, I've got some options. So I can either choose whether I want the QR code with the exit logo in it or not. Maybe I want it to be a standard logo or I want it to be a knockout where it's really impactful. I can also choose what kind of background, what kind of QR code color do I want? Do I want it to be white, teal, or black? Do I want the QR code color to be white, teal, or black? Pretty easy. So I'm just going to keep it, whatever. I'll just keep it the way that it is. Now, next you can choose the lead capture. So this is where that mandatory form comes in. When you toggle that off, they go right to your content. When you toggle it on, it's required that they fill out a form. So let's create a custom message. I'm going to say grab your top tips for your spring projects, whatever it is, for your spring projects. All right, now you can choose a background for your graphic. And actually, don't spend too much time in here because this is really minimal. If you wanted to create a social title or a social description, you can do that as well. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. So when I hit save, here it is, your top DIY tips with a high ROI. Grab your phones. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to open up our camera app and we're simply going to scan over the QR code. So I'm going to give you a second to do this. Grab your phone and go ahead and go to your QR code or go to your camera app and then you can just simply scan your QR code that you see here. All right, so now that you've scanned the QR code, hopefully all of you have had a second. It's this one again, the top DIY tips with a high ROI. I have gone ahead and I've scanned it, and let me show you on my phone. Now, because I have already done the process of getting the form and filling out my contact information, it's going to just take me directly to the content. But for each of you who've never done this before, you're going to get a form that requires you to fill out your name, your email address. You've provided me consent. Once you've done that, then it's going to take you to the beautiful marketing piece that I created in Canva, okay? So this is just a simple example because here's the thing, like I said, you have a lot of content out there. Now you can make your content work for you. And this is just one of the simple ways. So let's go back in and we'll go into the Resource Center. Okay, another thing to keep in mind is as you're using these tools, you're also going to have lead gateway analytics. So at a quick glance, what you're going to see is the views that you've had for each of your QR codes. But you'll also be able to drill down even deeper as to the behavior, where people are finding your QR codes, where are they scanning from. And if you're at all, if you loved analytics, this will be very helpful for you in the future. So gateway QR codes, they're here. You can scan them. Pretty simple, right? Now, that was probably a little too easy. Let's go in and create another one. So we're going to click on Add New QR Code. And then we're going to do something a little different. Let's do another one. Let's say, for example, Sharon. So Sharon's website. My colleague Sharon. She has an exit provided website. And maybe there's somewhere on your website that you want people to go to, whether it's featured properties or maybe an about section. It's completely up to you. If there's somewhere special on your website that you feel, this is a really important section, you can just as easily go to the URL, copy it. I'm just going to copy, go back into your lead gateway, and maybe you call this, I'm going to say, get to know me, work with Sharon Richardson. Okay, then I'm going to just put in the destination. Again, it's so easy. I had to show you twice, right? Because you might have blinked the first time. So the logo type, you could choose what kind of logo you want. You can choose the color or the background. I'll do black. And then lead capture or not, custom message, welcome. I look forward to getting to know you. Okay, choose your background, and then you'll hit save. Once you hit save, your QR code is here, looks great. Again, take your mobile device, scan the QR code that we just created. Take a second. Scan it, it's right here. It says get to know me, work with Sharon Richardson. And if you've already given me permission, right, you filled out your contact information and you have, once you filled out your contact information and you've provided me consent, it should take you directly to the marketing material. So here's my phone and it'll show you, right here's my phone. It takes me right to Sharon's About Me section on her website. So this is just, again, another example of how you can leverage your QR codes so that you can market yourself, share marketing pieces with your audience. Very simple. Now, I know one of the biggest questions that I get is, okay, this is really interesting, Annette, but like, what do I post about? What are some content ideas? And this is a real issue. Individuals who maybe they just don't know, like, where do I start to share information? I get you. So I've got some ideas, and it can vary. It could be for buyers, it can be for sellers, it can be for investors, it could be first-time home buyers. Like, what are you passionate about? When people say, what do I post about? What kind of content do I share? I think of it as, what do you want to share? Like, what is the content that you want to use? Like, get creative. Whatever you're seeing in your industry, something that lights you up, something that gets you excited, that's something that you can create a lead gateway for. Maybe it's content that buyers and sellers are really needing in your area, and maybe not a lot of people are talking about it. Get creative. There's so many great tools that you can use to leverage that. So for example, first-time home buyers, maybe it's a first-time buyer's step-by-step roadmap. That would be a really good one to use. And it maybe might depend on age range. Maybe certain age brackets of individuals have different questions. You can create a roadmap for those people. What are buyers really looking for right now? And it could really depend on your area. Maybe your market is so unique. Imagine creating a resource that's hyper-local that, because individuals get tired of getting general information. So really lean into your area and create a resource that would be very helpful. What to expect at closing, a neighborhood market report, down payment assistance programs, like, it's endless what you can come up with. What about for sellers, right? Top 10 tips to get your home spring market ready, or what buyers are really looking for right now. That would be interesting for a seller to know these things in advance. Home staging checklist. Sellers love checklists. Like, give me a checklist. What do I need to do? You can provide them a QR code so that they can make sure that they're hammering out all those details and that their home looks really desirable for buyers. How to price your home to sell fast. The true cost of waiting to sell. There's so many. If you dream it, you can come up with it quite easily. In fact, if you just start simple, okay, for instance, one seller resource and one buyer resource. That's it. Like, you don't have to go full crazy of, I need to create a lot of content. You actually don't. I challenge you to come up with one resource for a seller, one for a buyer. Start there. Just by starting there, you would have created 2 lead gateways. Maybe one in particular has a form in front of it. Maybe the other one doesn't. So it's totally up to you of how you want to create your lead gateway. And then think about, where am I going to put this QR code or the shareable link? So QR code can go anywhere. If you've got a digital newsletter, if you've got a printed newsletter, if you're walking a neighborhood, print a QR code and have people scan it so that they can, maybe there's a resource that you're providing them. Maybe there's a flyer with different QR codes for different purposes and all scannable so that they can get to your content. What that's going to do is, especially if you turn on the gate, right, where they're required to fill in their contact information, what you're doing is you've created very valuable content, and now you're going to be assured that you're going to generate a lead as a result. They're going to provide you their contact information and consent for you to stay connected with them. And don't forget to watch out for those lead notifications, because you'll get them. And it's really important for you to follow up with those leads. Now, could we get a little creative here? Because I get it. Maybe there's some individuals that say, okay, Annette, these are all really good ideas, but I got nothing. What am I going to do? So I'm going to give you some options. We're going to use AI, can we? We're going to use AI to create content that doesn't exist yet, okay? But it's what people are thinking about and what you could use as a QR code. So let's get creative. Let's go into Gemini. And we're going to ask it to create an 8.5 by 11 PDF flyer. And the topic is going to be what sellers, right, are Googling late at night because they're concerned about potentially selling their home. What are they concerned about, and what are some answers? And we're going to have it create an infographic, if you will, that's calming and reassuring. Okay, so let's create the prompt for that. So I'm going to say create a 8.5 by 11 flyer, PDF flyer, because then we're going to upload this into Canva, okay? So an 8.5 by 11 PDF flyer, we're going to say the topic is what potential sellers are Googling late at night okay, about what potential sellers are Googling late at night. I'm going to say that they're too afraid to ask a realtor, a real estate agent. Wouldn't that be interesting? We're going to say make this a reassuring. I'm going to say write in, include reassuring answers. I'm going to also say include my contact information, include my contact information, my logo, my Exit Realty logo, right? My Exit logo, my photo, I've already added this stuff previously, and my Gemini has really good memory. And I would encourage you to do that too. Make sure that you have gone into your Gemini or whatever large language model you're using. Tell it who you are, your preferences. Those are all important things. And as it's getting to know you, you do a prompt, you want to make sure to turn on memory and tell it to remember the prompts so that the output, you don't have to keep repeating yourself. So add in my exit logo, my photo, and a call to action. Call to action. All right, so let's take a look at this. Create an 8.5 by 11 PDF flyer. The topic is what potential sellers are Googling late at night that they're too afraid to ask a real estate agent. Yeah, I'm going to say include reassuring answers, include my contact information, exit logo, my photo, and a call to action. Enter. Let's see what it does. Let's see what it does. Let's take a moment. I don't know if you've ever worked with Gemini. It's good. You might do this with ChatGPT. That's good too. Okay. All right, let's see what it does. You guys ready? Let's click on this PDF. Okay, so what potential sellers Google late at night and are too afraid to ask a real estate agent. So it's 2 a.m., you're staring at the ceiling thinking about moving, but you aren't ready to face a pushy sales pitch. You have real heavy questions. Let's skip the pressure and answer them honestly right now. You guys, this is so good, right? So now what I'm a huge fan of is this shouldn't be it, right? Like you should be thinking about, what should I keep? Now, clearly, it did not remember to add. It says here, explicitly styled. Okay, so it's giving us spaces to drop in my photo. So I'm going to put in, add my photo, because it didn't remember. Tech is great. However, add my photo, my logo, and include my company colors. I mean, it could be that color, that's fine, which are teal, black, and white. All right, so I'm just going to quickly add my photo. I'm going to upload some files. I'm going to go to my miscellaneous images. I'm going to go to my exit folder. Lots of good stuff in here. Go to my pictures. Now might be a good time to think about updating your photo, you guys. If you haven't yet, you should. I'm going to also include my logo. This will just take a second. But think about this. If you had to create this flyer yourself from scratch, would it take you the minutes that we're doing this? No, it would take you hours. The reckoning about artificial intelligence is that you could do this in minutes. Had I organized my logos so that I can find them easily, it'd be less, right? I'd be able to find it really quick. Okay, I'm going to use this black and white logo. That's cool. What else? Yeah, and I'm going to just say black and white. I'm just going to say my phone, add my name. I don't even know if it did that, but add my name, Annette Anthony. My phone, 480. Oh, I need to put my locks. Okay, 480. I hope you guys are following along with me because that's how we learn, right? Actually doing. So add my name, phone number. Cool. How about my email? Email aanthony@exitrealty.com. All right, now let's see. And I'm going to say make this a one-pager. Okay, it's going to do a revision. The other one was good. Okay, I could have taken that, ran with it. I could have just uploaded that PDF flyer right into my Canva account. Totally could have done that. And gone from there. Let's see what it comes up with. Analyzing. Okay, it says your printable PDF flyer is ready. Let's take a look. Okay, it's looking good. Woo! It's all on one page. I love it. Okay, So let's just say we're good to go. I'm going to hit download, and it's in my downloads right now. So now I can go into my Canva account, and I can go to create. When I go to create, I'm going to go to upload. Remember, we're creating content for our lead gateway, okay? Questions that potential sellers might be thinking about, they're Googling, they're too afraid to ask. That would be a pretty good lead gateway, don't you think? So I'm going to go into my downloads, and here it is. And I'm going to hit open. So I'm opening up, I'm uploading this into my Canva account. Awesome. So here it is. Let's take a look at this. So I've uploaded it. Looks great. But remember, one of the skills with using artificial intelligence is what do you keep? What don't you keep, right? This is where you can add your voice if it isn't already, represented well on your flyer. But this is really good. I love it. So I'm going to go ahead at the top right-hand corner, and I'm going to hit share. When I go to share, this is where I can determine, obviously, because this is Canva, what my access level is when people use the link. So I'm going to make sure that anyone with the link, they can get it. There's no sign in required. I also want to make sure that it's not editable. Like the only thing I want them to do with this is view it. You guys tracking so far? So now I'm just going to hit copy link. I've copied the link. And let's go into the resource center. And we're going to create a new lead gateway. So we're going to click on add new QR code, and we're going to call this what sellers are secretly Googling at night. That would be interesting. Okay, so then I'm going to use the link, and then you could change up the logo, totally fine. Lead capture, you decide. Okay, yes or no. I'm going to leave it on. And then the custom message is going to be, here are some questions. Potential sellers are losing sleep over, right? Are they similar to your questions? All right, I'll choose a background, and I'm going to go ahead and hit save. So now that I hit save, here's my QR code, okay? You also have a shareable link. So let's say we wanted to copy the link address, and let's say we want to go into Facebook. What? Yes, we're going to go into Facebook, and we're going to post something. So when I go to my Facebook page, I'm just going to say, are these questions, no, I'm going to say sellers are losing sleep. They've got questions. They've got questions that keep them up at night. Want to see what questions they have. I mean, you could probably go to Gemini and say, give me a post that's going to be thumb stopping, right? Want to see the questions they have. Okay, whatever. I can then paste the URL here, and it's going to give me the graphic that Canva created, right? Sometimes when you post, it just depends on where you're posting, where the link is coming from. The picture may or may not come through. I think it looks great. I can go ahead and hit next, and I can go ahead and I can share this. Now, I'm only posting this to me on my Facebook page, but you guys get the idea. Here it is, right? Sellers are losing sleep. They've got questions that keep them up at night, want to see what questions they have, and then you can go ahead and click on the link. And then here's the lead gateway. Now, what I love about our technology is that whether you're looking at this from your desktop, which I clicked on the link from the desktop, or you did this from your iPad, right, tablet, or your mobile device, the screen will adjust so that it looks beautifully. It doesn't look awkward. So this is where they would fill in their first and last name, their email, provide consent. So I'm just going to put in, I'll put in my husband's name, Brady Anthony. And his email is, we'll do my work email. Cool. And then I'm going to hit continue. And then he can determine what is he interested in. It's provided consent. Hit continue. You guys, think about it. It's limitless what you can come up with using your lead gateway, right? So I encourage you to get into the Resource Center and start creating some of these really great topics. Now, here's what I know. You can't say you don't have ideas of what you want to do anymore. And we've proven this because you can use artificial intelligence to help you. Now, I also would be remiss if I didn't have the opportunity to talk about, what really sets us apart, right? Because for our agents, all right, this is what the membership includes for our agents. This isn't a premium tier of technology. This is what they get included in their platform. Now, for our guests who are here on this call who aren't with Exit yet, I want to be direct with you without a hard pitch, right? What you just saw with our lead gateway technology, this is not an add-on, and we certainly didn't buy this from a third party. It is native, okay? It's built into the platform that Exit agents use every single day. So when you're with Exit, you're not just getting a brand, you're actually getting a technology infrastructure designed to support your business. And the people inside this company, like myself and many others, the team at corporate is committed to making sure that you use it, not just that you have it, but that you use this regularly in your business. Lead Gateway is just one of those pieces, and there's so many other pieces that we provide at Exit to our associates. So if you're curious as to what the full picture might look like for your market or for your goals, I would encourage you to meet with an Exit broker near you. Just have a conversation, no pressure today, right? But the door is always open. Now, I want to close with this. I want to challenge each of you, especially those obviously who have access to the Lead Gateway. I want you to build your first gateway. So I want you to log into the Resource Center. I want you to hover over resources. I want you to select the Lead Gateway QR code, okay? Go to the dashboard and create. Chances are you probably already have great resources living on your computer. Maybe resources that you shared with individuals before, but it did the job. They got the information, but how do you follow up with that, right? Now you can. How do you get them, prior to engage with your content so that they fill out a form? Now it's built in. So come in, create, and make sure that you share it. Now, I'm still going to provide you a resource, so be sure that you scan this QR code, because what I wanted to do is provide all of our attendees with 50 Lead Gateway content ideas. And this is for your buyers, this is for your sellers, and it's also a resource for agent-to-agent tips. The reason why I felt compelled to do that also was because agents love to learn from each other. And when you're sharing information that builds others up and helps them grow their business, they become agents who follow you, which is really important. It helps you as a leader provide content to other agents, probably even agents you do deals with that you enjoyed working with. So these are 50 ways. So all you need to do is just scan the QR code, get these ideas so that you can start thinking of ways that you can create a lead gateway. I also want to talk to you if you have really interesting ideas of how you're using the lead gateway platform. I want to hear about it. I want to hear so that we could also share the ideas that you're doing with other agents. And I want to give you the credit. Yeah? So be sure that you connect with me on social, or you can find me at Exit Realty Corp International, and share your ideas with me, because I would love to share it with others. And for everyone else, I want to thank you for being here today. I want you to go build something, because your leads are waiting on the other side of your QR code. Thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. Make it a great rest of your day.